Alrighty, y'all. Hello. Taking a look at a car today I've heard from many people, suggested by many people, and heard that this is just an absolutely crazy machine. I know absolutely nothing about it. This is on my brands to learn about, but we're going to start with this car. It might be the craziest one. This is called the TVR, I believe it's like Cerbera, something like that, the Cerbera Speed 12. And yeah, I've never heard of this thing, and I feel like it's a shame because this has been really, really hyped up. And we're going to be taking a look at various different clips and then read some info about it. You know how these videos usually work. So we want to hear it, we want to learn about it, and just see what this thing's about. Let's go right ahead and do that. Some of these will be linked down below, of course, as well. So we're going to be looking at a lot of footage. This first footage is being unloaded from a trailer. This was at Goodwood. Now, Goodwood Festival of Speed is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Of course, I didn't discover this until a few years ago as well. But this is from classic Goodwood, I guess you could say, 2000. Almost a quarter century ago. Isn't that freaky? So yeah, let's take a look at this. And yes, this is the screenshots I've seen of this car in like this red color. This thing is absolutely crazy looking, man. I dig it a lot, actually. Obviously, it looks like a race car to me. The way it almost looks like, you know, like a really lightweight, either carbon fiber or maybe fiberglass body. Because it almost looks like you can see, like you can clearly see roll cage elements in here. And you can see the chassis underneath. Like it almost looks like a tube chassis. So that's why I think it's a race car, right? Well, although that's got a license plate on it. God, that thing is awesome, dude. I totally dig that design. I mean, with the door and these swoops here, it's almost like vaguely, not exactly like. It's kind of reminds me, just if you see this part right in the back, if you see my mouse cursor like right here, it reminds me of like older Vipers, but like a Viper on steroids, man. Like this thing is aggressive. I love it, dude. It's got that really kind of swoopy, exotic look. Thing sounds awesome too. Jeez, that thing looks amazing, dude. It's got like one of the best stances ever. I'm really surprised I don't know about this thing. Just to round it off. God, that thing is amazing. I don't know what any of these cars are. Is this like a it's not a kit car, right? Okay, so we have photos. I'm gonna mute the music. Dude, that thing is actually awesome. Where's the door handle, by the way? I think it's hidden up here. The exhaust comes out the side. The front end looks bizarre in a good way. It's very different. Very aggressive, like dam work here. Of course, the grill, some sort of intakes maybe. Really weird headlights, right? They look kind of odd, but it works with this car. Damn, this thing is a beast, dude. Look at the mirrors. Very interesting. They're mounted high, and they're just kind of bizarre looking. Really aggressive, like straight up race car, like looks like adjustable spoiler with definitely downforce in mind, I think, with that design. Of course, it has rear diffusers. I mean, this thing looks like a race car to me. TVR Cerbera. Or Cerbera. No, it's not Cerbera. It's got to be Cerbera, right? Dude, this thing is wild, man.
McLaren F1, but it proved too dangerous and never went into production. This is the TVR Cerbera Speed 12, equipped with a TVR developed.
Damn, look at that engine work. Look at this thing underneath. This is a race car. Look at all this. Look at the suspension.
7.7 liter V12 engine generating around 1,000 horsepower.
7.7 liter V12? 1,000 horsepower? Holy crap, dude.
And they tried to measure the engine's power on a most capable in the 90s dyno, rated for 1,000 horsepower. The dyno's input shaft broke. TVR engineers then had to test each 6-cylinder bank individually. The result was 480 horsepower per bank. And we're talking about a car that weighs 1,000 kilograms, as much as the first-gen Mazda M.
Wait. This thing only weighs 1,000 kilograms? I may not be fluent in kilograms and metric, because being an American, but I know enough to know that is way light.
X5. The Speed 12 was hailed as one of the most outrageous and extreme
1,000 horsepower
British cars ever.
Yes, I just learned literally like a week or two ago. I did a video learning about some British car brands, and this is a brand that I didn't know about. Regardless, I didn't know they were British, and I feel like at some point in my life I've heard of TVR, but I just don't know anything about them. So this is a British sports car, man. This thing is
only having
wild.
rear-wheel drive, it achieved 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2.9 seconds. And
this thing is absolutely insane.
a top speed of 240 miles.
240 miles per hour? I mean, I'm not surprised. This thing had around 1,000 horsepower and weighed nothing.
Miles per hour. They even started taking deposits. But after TVR's owner, Peter Wheeler, drove the prototype home one day, decided the next day that it was too dangerous for an average driver, even those with money, and canceled the project. All deposits were returned, and only one road legal Cerbera.
Okay, I do love how, so it's like, it is basically a race car. Let's get real. I love how it has removable panels. Like, you don't open the hood, you just pull the whole clamshell front end off. Looks like you could do the same with the back as well, the rear of the car, as you can see in this shot. The thing looks like a beast. Looks like a legit race car underneath. Damn, is that cool or what? This thing is awesome. I'm hella intrigued. Some footage of this, I believe, in the UK somewhere. Please correct me if I'm wrong there. But this thing is definitely... we're going to read about it afterwards. I'm not sure how many examples of this thing there are. I'm assuming this is hella rare. In that one video, it claimed there was only one. There might be 1 or 2 or 10. I don't know. But let's assume it's extremely rare. So someone's taking hand video. Warning, it's a little shaky, it seems, so... Just be warned. I don't want anyone to get motion sickness. Yeah, that looks like the legit car. I mean, it's pretty funny seeing regular traffic around and then seeing this. It definitely stands out in traffic. And the fact that this thing would have been road legal. I mean, this is a road legal race car, and I know that term sometimes might be thrown around. Like, oh, I have a modified Corvette or a modified, whatever it is, right? And like, oh, it's a race car. Well, I mean a real race car, tube chassis, roll cage, crazy setup, race car. This is what this is. So I'm pretty mind blown that this would have been like road legal, seeing plates on it, You could picture like a racing livery on it, but seeing metallic paint and turning signals and license plates makes it look so civilized, right? It's weird. But it still looks exotic because you can just tell it's not a regular car. Now, of course, if this is only one of how many examples, how freaky would it be driving this in traffic? I mean, this doesn't look like light traffic. It looks pretty decent. That would be pretty scary, I imagine. Yeah, it's got real legit lights, turning signals, you name it. So it was a real car, a real street legal car. You can hear it vaguely. Turn it up, sorry. Oh yeah, thing sounds awesome. Oh man, let's get real. In this environment, this is obviously a city. Forgive me, I don't know where it is. I don't want to blindly guess because I'll probably be wrong and everyone will laugh at me. Okay, so I just looked at the comments. This was filmed, I guess, in London, but that would have been my guess. Regardless, it's crazy seeing one of these clearly fast cars driving around a city. Now, of course, just driving this thing would be fun regardless, but this is not probably the ideal driving environment just because this thing is damn fast. And of course, having all that power and that chassis, it's kind of funny, the idea of just driving it slow in traffic. But that's how it is, like sometimes you just can't drive fast. But of course, taking this to a racetrack and really getting to unleash, I bet would just be astonishing. So yeah, if we just kind of look through some shots of this video, I mean, I'm sure this thing was turning heads, and while they couldn't do any speed runs or really open, stretch its legs on this thing, you could for sure, I bet, get some good sounds, right? With the city around, all the buildings. I'm sure it echoed quite nicely if they revved it up and stuff. Of course, you do have people asking about it like, what the hell is this, right? That's pretty cool, gotta admit. Thing just looks so exotic. So yeah, these will all be linked down below. This one's a good watch. This is a long video. We've only watched literally, I think, a minute of it. So yeah, definitely check out the whole thing, browse their channels. We're going to take a look into this car and learn about it because this thing is really badass. All right, so going to the good old wiki, our trusty source, at least for getting, the bare minimum information about a car. It's a good start anyway. So it says so here it is, the TVR Cerbera Speed 12, originally known as the Project 7-12, or 7/12 rather. It's a sports car designed by TVR in 97. Oh wow, this thing's from 1997? Okay, so those numbers are even more impressive. How many cars in 97 were going 240 miles per hour and 0-60 in under 3 seconds? That just was not common. We're in a crazy era now where there are quite a few cars that can at least go 0-60 that fast, but it's still impressive today. This would have been mind-blowing in 97. The vehicle was intended to be both the world's fastest road car and a basis for a GT1 class endurance car. Well, or endurance racer, rather. Well, you can tell. I mean, this thing looks like it came right off a racing trailer, like this looks like it's could do any track in the world. It looks weird seeing it on the street. It's that much of a race car for sure. But anyway, this thing ultimately got abandoned. It sounds like, yeah, they just thought it was too dangerous. That's how you know it must have been a freaky car, man. So much power, rear-wheel drive. Sounds like this thing had no, it's not like it had advanced traction control and all this ABS and stuff because, it was early. It was 97. But I think it was kind of like more of, I hate to say it again, but kind of like the Viper attitude, like, oh, no driving aids here. Just the engine, lots of power, a light platform, and rear-wheel drive, and you. So good luck out there. That seems to be the approach with this car. And, in this case, you're dealing with a 7.7-liter 12-cylinder in this, extremely lightweight car. Sounds like an absolute blast. Let's get real. And it also sounds scary as Anyway, yeah, this thing was a 6-speed manual. Everything about this thing was just insane driver's car, for sure. And I tell you what, it's a hell of an introduction to a company because I have so much enjoyed learning about so many different cars, and I have so much more to learn about and different companies and so forth. But I can safely say, I really don't think I've ever been more intrigued with a car company than I am right now with TVR. These guys look crazy. If this is what I'm seeing, look at the design on this thing. Here we have an R32 Skyline in the background, and that's a great car, right? But this thing just looks like on another level. It's absolutely crazy. Like I said, my first thought when I see this middle to rear section is like, oh, look at that. It's a Viper, but it's not. It's way more exotic. Way more exotic. This thing is crazy. Everything about it. And again, I have to put it in that category of I'd probably, as a speed freak and as a car guy, I'd probably be too scared to drive this. I think I said that about a couple Porsches in the past, some of their race cars, like the 917, for example. Just scary. Just too scary. Like, that thing is awesome. It's badass. And it's also just wicked. Like, this falls into that category. I love this thing. I cannot believe I didn't know what this was. I feel like I missed out. This thing is freaking awesome. And at the same time, if I, that dream state, you get handed the keys of this thing, I think I'd be pretty freaking scared. Putting the hammer down on this thing must be a wicked experience. So if we go to images, there's a surprising lack of coverage of this car. Surprisingly, a lot of videos I saw were either from really, really copyrighted TV shows, which is understandable, so I didn't feature those for obvious reasons, or they were from video games. Like, I think I've seen this in Gran Turismo keeps coming up, like right here, for example. Other than that, there's just not much out there. So this thing must be kind of a unicorn in the car community where people know about it, but it's just not something you see every day. Most people will probably never see one. Like this one is a different color. This is like a really wicked looking, like purplish blue color. And it says TVR Cerbera Speed 12, one of 2 in existence, will be at Donington Park, UK tomorrow. And this was probably from another year, but that is actually crazy, man. What a beautiful car. It's weird. It's not beautiful like I think of with most cars. It's definitely a weird car, but I like it. It works. This thing has a personality to it. It's kind of scary and exciting. Honestly, the smart person in me would be scared to death of this thing. But, like, there's also a part of me that is excited by it. And, like, seeing it deconstructed like this makes me even more into it because it shows, like, oh, this thing is serious business. This is a tubular frame, tube chassis car. This is not a joke. That just shows you it's serious, You'd be in for one hell of a ride with this car. Damn. So, I guess we'll wrap it up there. I mean, it's kind of hard to go down the rabbit hole with this thing. There's just not much on it. So I really turn this to you guys. First of all, thanks as always for the suggestions. Many people suggested this, and I'm really glad I looked at it. This thing sounds crazy. It's got a humongous V12, makes gobs and gobs of power, and it's just a beast. I mean, it's in a league of its own. I've never seen a car that looks like it. It's just very wild. And now I'm super intrigued because people have said, because I've done videos now where I look at brands and people have said, like, oh, you got to look at TVR. Check out TVR. I am definitely going to check out TVR. So look for that soon. I can't imagine what else they make. I mean, this thing is just cool. Like I said, turn it to you guys. Do you know any more about this car that you want to share? Please, I'm all ears. Is there one? Is there two? I'm seeing I thought I saw somewhere there was going to be 10 of them or something, but then like a lot of these I see there's one. Then some of them I see that there's 2 of them. And like that one looked real and it was like purple, but then a lot of them are that red color as well, which I think is the same car if there's only 1 or 2. So maybe there's like one red one purple one. I don't know. You guys... Yeah, let me know any info you have on that. Who owns this? Who is the lucky person that gets to own this thing? And I wonder how often it is, displayed. Like if they drive it around, which I highly doubt, or if they at least take it to some sort of, races, historic events, or some sort of fancy car show or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, what kind of presence does this thing have, being that it's, quite old, actually. It's, almost 30 years old. But yeah, that was awesome. What an absolute beast. And I'll have to look for this in some video games. It seems to be only in Gran Turismo, but if it was any of the newer racing sims, I'll have to check it out. I would love to at least virtually drive it. I'm sure it'd be even scary in game. But I'm surprised. These British sports cars they're freaking nuts. They're exotic. But hey, that's going to be it for this one. So I appreciate you watching. I hope you had fun in this one. That's all. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, y'all. Catch you later.